a king's decree, a death sentence, and a man who refused to bow. One night in a pit of hungry lions would prove that sometimes the most dangerous place is actually the safest place to be, if God is with you. Bible Quest Studio presents Daniel in the Lion's Den Witness, a faith so strong it silenced the world's most dangerous predators.
Our story takes place in the great kingdom of Babylon, now ruled by King Darius. Daniel was an old man, full of wisdom and integrity, who had served many kings. Darius recognized Daniel's exceptional ability and intended to set him over the entire kingdom. Daniel was a perfect administrator, but this excellence stirred up a poisonous jealousy among the other high officials and governors. They didn't like Daniel because he was Jewish, and they were angry that the king trusted him so completely. They desperately searched for anything Daniel did wrong, some mistake, some corruption, but Daniel was faultless. They couldn't find a single thing to accuse him of. We will never find a fault in this man unless it has something to do with the law of his God. So they came up with a wicked plan, one that preyed on King Darius's pride. They approached the king and convinced him to sign a strict new law. For the next 30 days, absolutely no one in the kingdom was allowed to pray to any god or man except for King Darius himself. The penalty for breaking this law was terrifying. The person would be immediately thrown into the lion's den. Once the king signed the law, it was irreversible. The king, flattered by the idea of being worshipped, eagerly signed the decree. The plot was set. The jealous men waited to see what Daniel would do. Daniel knew about the new law. He knew the king had signed the decree and that the penalty was certain death. But Daniel's commitment to God was not something he would hide or compromise. He made his choice immediately. He went up to his room, where the windows were open toward Jerusalem, just as they had always been. Daniel knelt down, a posture of reverence and respect, and began to pray and give thanks to his God 3 times a day, just as he had always done. He showed unwavering obedience to God over the temporary law of a man. The jealous officials were waiting. They watched Daniel, caught him in the act of praying, and rushed straight to King Darius to report the violation. "O king, did you not sign a decree that anyone who prays to any god or man besides you for 30 days should be thrown into the lion's den?" The king realized he had been tricked. He was deeply distressed, not because of the law but because he loved and respected Daniel. He spent the rest of the day desperately trying to find a way to save Daniel, but the law of the Medes and Persians could not be changed. At sunset, the king gave the difficult command. Daniel was brought forward and taken to the den. As they cast him into the dark pit, King Darius spoke words of hope. "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." A huge stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den, sealed with the king's own ring. The king spent a sleepless night, fasting and worrying about his friend. The very first moment of dawn, before the sun had even risen, King Darius hurried back to the lion's den. He cried out in a voice full of anguish, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" The king was expecting silence, but he heard a calm, familiar voice answer from the darkness below. "O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the mouths of the lions. They have not harmed me because I was found innocent in his sight." The king was overjoyed. He immediately commanded that Daniel be lifted out of the pit. Daniel was completely unharmed, proving that his faith in his God had been total. The king then ordered that the jealous men who had accused Daniel, along with their families, be thrown into the den, and before they even hit the bottom, the lions attacked them. King Darius then issued a decree to the entire kingdom that everyone must now respect the God of Daniel, for he is the living God. Daniel's story teaches us that we must obey God's commands, even when it is costly or dangerous. When we place our trust in God above all earthly authority, he is faithful to deliver us and glorify his name.
Thanks for watching Bible Quest Studio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for another journey through God's Word.